how do we discern between lust and love? It sounds like a simple question, but it really isn't, to be honest with you. Lust has a very, very tricky way of disguising itself as love so that you get confused, right? Now, use love, when I say this, use lust as a teacher to show you what is actually love. This is not to make lust a bad guy or something. It is just a teacher for you, for all of us, really, to be honest with you. So let me give a little story, okay? Um, and we can dissect where is the lust in this story, right? It's a pretty, I'll say, standard story. You've probably heard it. You've probably even experienced it yourself, right? So guy and girl, they meet at some singles thing, right? Or they're at like a bar or club and they hit it off. Like they're like talking, they talk for like an hour, 2 hours, whatever, just shooting the breeze. And it is so effortless. That's great. And then maybe get like a drink in or whatever, and then like they're playing some nice music, and then y'all are feeling the vibes, So then now you're getting a little touchy feely, and then you're like starting to like dance, sway a little bit, and then things start going progressing. You're like dancing with each other, grinding with each other. You're feeling it, and then it starts escalating, and then you're going like, oh, now you're face to face, and then now some stuff is happening, like, and then it goes all the way to like, hey, you want to come back to my place, and then this, that. Okay, so it's a pretty, I feel, standard story. It's a pretty standard story, I feel. So where I guess I guess when you're in the moment, right? That type of story feels like love. It feels like a movie. It feels like, oh my God, this is what I see in movies, right? Um, and that is the disguise. That is the disguise. In that story specifically, right? Lust, you're basic. Oh, so, okay, what did I say? It's like a 1 hour to 2 hour conversation, and then you're off to the dance floor. You're doing this, that, right? The basic definition of lust really is I'm horny and you are attractive. I'm attracted to you, and vice versa. Like hopefully they're attracted to you as well. If they aren't, then it wouldn't reciprocate and there'd be nothing, right? But we're under the assumption that like they're attracted to you, you're attracted to them. So that's the basic definition of lust. I'm physically attracted to you. I like how you look. Nothing else. There's nothing else there's no spiritual attraction, there's no emotional attraction. Maybe some words are nice, coming here and there, but like, so there's some charisma, but charisma does not mean emotional intelligence. It does not mean any of that, like that's just, you have the gift of gab. So we often, I feel, confuse like when we're having a great conversation. I'm not even going to the like part where you're back in the bedroom or whatever. I feel like that one's a little self-explanatory. I'm over in the beginning where we're having a good conversation for 2 hours or whatever. 2 hours, and then you start doing this, that, and the other thing, right? That's when the lust kicks in. Have a great conversation. Maybe you are having a great conversation with people, right? Or with that person, right? So, but then when you start like dancing, okay, fine, that's fine. You can dance, if you guys are like, but then you go even farther, like, oh, now we're grinding and this, that. Now we're getting really physical, and then so basically and there's no like, okay, there's no like 100% fits all shoe here, right? But I guess I'm just speaking from my perspective here, that conversation leading to the dancing, that's where the lust kicked in, right? Like, and that's where the lust kicked in. That's where, yeah, that is where it kicked in. And from there, now you have, now it's all lust after that, right? Like in that story, like you had a fabulous conversation. That's great. And then after that, you start dancing. Fine. And then you started getting really touchy feely and grindy and this, that. That is when lust came in. But it is disguised because it is under the impression that, wait, I had a good conversation. That was authentic, right? That was good love. I mean, not love, but you get what I mean. Like that was an authentic like expression of myself. Um, so I mean, it's a natural flow, right? Like, no, that's where it's like or lust disguised itself as love. Um, it You were in an authentic conversation for an hour or two, and then you even started dancing. Still dope, and then the physical attraction kicked in, and it was like, okay, I liked how I liked how we talked. We built some good rapport. Now let me now let me come in, like let the lust come in now, right? When you cannot let it come in at all. Basically, if we were gonna describe a lustless conversation, theoretically, um, it would be you have the 2 hour conversation, and if you enjoyed it a lot, get their IG handles, numbers, whatever, and just be on your way. Or if you do decide to dance, that's fine. But basically, no physical contact. And I don't mean like partner work, like bachata or like swing or something. I'm talking sexual grinding, this that like that part. Yeah, that is when it starts getting like that. When it's anything like sensual, this is self-explanatory. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. You know this. Like, when it gets like that, like, there's some lust happening there on that aspect. So, but it is tricky, right? Because it's like, but we had such a good conversation, this, that. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? No. Like, you had a great conversation, and then cut it before it gets to the lust, because it is very easy right after. Like, okay, yeah, I mean, it just seems like a natural progression of things, right? I've seen it in movies, I've seen my friends do this, that, right? Like, so may have happened with them, right? But it's not gonna happen with everyone. And that's also another narrative that goes around, that like these types of stories is the only way to get into a serious relationship or whatever, right? So we'll touch on that next time. But it's just one way, and one way of how lust disguises itself. You feel like it's just like you feel like you have an authentic connection, and then you feel like the natural flow of things is to go like physical. No. If you're starting to feel like, okay, if you're starting to feel like it goes to that direction, you're lusting. There is a I'll leave y'all with this. There's a great saying: lust rushes, love waits. I don't know who said it, but it is spectacular. And it's so true. But then you're like, wait, but I mean, we talked 2 hours. I waited. No, that's not waiting. We can have more discipline than 2 hours. Like, you don't know this person. 2 hours is not even scratching the surface. You're like, it is nothing. So, yeah, just when in doubt, think this through. Think of this phrase. If you want to take anything from this video, lust rushes, love waits.